I just got back from seeing Doctor Sleep, the Shining sequel, directed by Mike Flanagan, starring Ewan McGregor as older Danny Torrance, the kid from The Shining. And as The Shining goes real quick, I watched it for the very first time a couple of weeks ago, and I loved it. So my interest in Doctor Sleep skyrocketed after that. And I must say, Doctor Sleep was really damn good. Like, much better than I thought it would be. And the film that I would liken this to is Blade Runner 2049, obviously not in look and concept, but it's a belated sequel to a beloved cult film that doesn't try to emulate the same feeling of the original film. It's not derivative of the original film, but instead it expands upon the mythology of that film, and it just feels like the next chapter of the story, just told all these years later. That's exactly what Doctor Sleep felt like for me, and I was invested and engaged throughout the entire runtime of this film. It's 2.5 hours long, which may seem daunting to some people, and I did feel the runtime. It felt like a 2.5 hour long film, but I was never once bored because I was always engaged with Danny Torrance as a character and his story to help this girl who also has the shining ability to overcome Rebecca Ferguson and her cult members who are trying to kill this girl and get her shine from her. And that's the mythology this film expands on, is the shining ability, because we saw Danny in The Shining. He can talk to people through his mind and see ghosts and stuff, but we see a couple of people in this film with way more abilities than Danny has. And it was just really interesting. I was just so fascinated by this film's mythology, and the way they expanded upon it was really satisfying for me. And there are certain sequences where two people are kind of like battling each other inside their minds. That was like really entertaining. Like, it's the new girl, Abra, who's fighting Rebecca Ferguson inside her mind, and those sequences were like, whoa, that was really great. Speaking of which, the little girl, she was the standout in this film. I was really impressed with her performance. If there's one constant in recent Hollywood films, is awesome kid performances, and she was another awesome kid performance. And Rebecca Ferguson was also really great, really devilishly evil. I felt she was. She was like just really sinister, but in a confident way, where she's always smiling and she's like really sure that she's gonna come out on top. And her cult members were interesting. I love weird cults. I don't know why. They fascinate me. So I really enjoyed the villainous element of this film. Rebecca Ferguson was great. Ewan McGregor, typically great. And that's the biggest surprising thing of this film for me, was how compelling it was. I found myself really caring for Danny as a character, and I was just so invested in his journey to kind of confront his past demons but also help this girl. And there are a couple of actual emotional beats that really surprised me. Like, there's some scenes where Danny is talking with some patients in the hospital, because he works at a hospital, and kind of like eases dying patients to go to sleep and die peacefully. A couple of scenes like that, really like, wow, that's quite effective actually. The third act of this film, they go back to the Overlook Hotel from The Shining, which you saw in the trailer. Not going to spoil anything, don't worry. And I will say the third act was my least favourite part of this film, not because of the Shining references. I enjoyed seeing the Shining references, but it just felt like a tiny bit of it fizzled out for me. Like, it wasn't as entertaining as some other parts in the film, but from a character perspective, it was very satisfying and very unexpected as well. But I just felt a little bit semi-underwhelmed by the third act of this film. But that's as far as it goes with issues for me. I was really surprised with Doctor Sleep. Again, it was a very compelling film with Danny and his story. It was a very engaging and interesting film with the expanded mythology from The Shining. It was really well acted. The musical score was awesome, really haunting. It's a great sequel to The Shining. I mean, you can watch this film and enjoy it if you haven't seen The Shining, but you really should watch The Shining first, because you'll get a lot more emotion out of seeing The Shining first. It's very similar again to Blade Runner 2049. You can appreciate that film having not seen the first Blade Runner, but seeing the first Blade Runner will give more depth to 2049. It's the same thing, I think. I'm going to give Doctor Sleep a 4.5 out of 5. Thanks for watching as always, guys. Let me know down there what you thought of Doctor Sleep, and if you want to see more of my stuff, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.